Today, we're drawing a line in the sand. I want to talk to you about exactly why I'm a conservative. And I'm not talking about what you see on the legacy media. I'm not talking about what you see scrolling through on your Facebook or your TikTok. I'm talking about a worldview, a set of unchanging principles that are anchored in faith, traditional values, and the belief that strength is built from the inside out, with the top tier of that being faith. But before we look into what conservatism actually is, we got to address the elephant in the room, the massive elephant in the room. We have to talk about the toxic, weaponized narrative that is being pushed down our throats daily by the cultural left. If you listen to mainstream media, university professors, or Hollywood elites, they've already painted a picture of who I am before I ever open my mouth. You have these influencers, you have people that are agitators. They want you to believe that if you hold conservative values, that you are automatically a bigot, a racist, a white supremacist, or if you're a black conservative, that you're a coon, an Uncle Tom, a traitor. They use these heavy, ugly labels like a blanket to cover anyone who dares to think differently from them. That's a tactic. That's deliberate. It's if they can label us and the worst things of the worst, then other people won't listen to us, right? So this is a political tactic. This is an ideology tactic. This is just a warfare tactic that they use. When you can't win an argument on logic, truth, or real world results, you attack the person's character. You call them names to scare them into silence, and I'm here to say that that's not working anymore. People that know me know that I'm not a racist. People that know me know that I'm not a bigot. People that know me know who I am as a man, right? I'm not intimidated very easily, and it's starting to get kind of old, y'all. It's getting really old, actually. Just because I might not agree with some of the things that the left pushes down our throat doesn't mean that I hate these people, right? That I hate transsexuals or whatever the case may be. I can get very, very, very transparent with you guys. I was molested as a young boy. It caused me a lot of trauma in my life. I've dealt personally with sexual morality. I've been around real racist people. I've been discriminated against. I know that's hard for some of you guys to grasp because my skin's light. But when I was growing up, the first time I ever heard the word speak, my dad's from South America, and the very first word I ever heard the word speak was from my stepfather. God rest his soul, he was a good man. And I didn't know what the word speak meant. So when I asked my mom, it caused a knockdown drag out. I've been racially profiled, and I guess you could say by black folks. I've had racism exists to every race. There's this narrative that's been pushed that if you're black you can't be racist, or if you're Latino you can't be racist, and that's just not true, guys. It's not true. If I'm being frank here and being honest and being bold like I'm supposed to be, some of the most racist people I've ever met are black folks. That's the truth. I've met some very racist white folks too. I mean, they go toe to toe. There's racism in every group, right? But there's this narrative being painted that if we are conservative, that we automatically are a racist, that we automatically are bigots, that we automatically are white supremacists, that we automatically are this or automatically that. And that picture being painted is wrong. The picture being painted is wrong. So we have to come up with some sort of compromise here before it gets too late. I'm going to talk about 3 points that kind of sum up everything about being a conservative, why I'm a conservative, and it kind of goes against the narrative that's being painted. The first one is true conservatism evaluates character and not color. And the irony is that the left's entire worldview is based on 2 things: your race and your identity. And true conservatism is exact opposite, right? So I base my view on people's character, right? A personal accountability has a lot to do with that. The character, how you treat others. I base my view of you on those things. Not what color your skin is, not your sexual identity, not if you're gay, trans, none of that. Right? I base it on your character. I can kind of shatter that whole narrative. That one point of the narrative with this is that I got about 20 men in my life that I consider best friends, right? And probably 10 of those I consider brothers, right? And I have at least 4. I got 4 men that are in the top 10 that I consider brothers that are black, that are black men, that I've lived with, that I've let live with me, be around my family, that I would personally give my life for if there was a situation that came about. And a white supremacist or a racist wouldn't do that. I have a biracial son, and he's my son. I don't look at him any differently. The funny thing is that if you drew a picture, he's 5 years old. If you drew a picture of a little black boy, and you showed it to him, and you asked him what that was, he's going to say it's a little boy. If you drew a picture of a little black girl, and you showed it to him, and you ask him what that was, he's going to say a little girl, because we don't discuss race in my house. That's not a topic. That's not nothing. We never discuss that. He doesn't even know what color he is, to be honest, guys. It makes me sick when that's the first thing people say. You know, that's the first thing people say to me when I don't go along with the narrative that they're trying to paint, is that I'm a racist. I couldn't be anything further from it. I couldn't be anything further from it. I don't like ignorant people, right? Of all colors. Ignorant people come in all colors. There's a lot of white ignorant people out there. I have met some real racist people. I've met real racist black folks. I've met real racist white folks. I don't judge people by the color of the skin. I judge them. I try not to judge people, period, right? But I judge them on their work ethic. I judge them on their character, not some box they checked out on a census, right? Not some box they checked on a census. Not what they. Man, it's just it's getting old, guys. I believe that all people were created in the image of God, not just Europeans, not black folks, not white folks, not Asians, but all people were created in the image of God. That's why we all look different, right? I can get into some deep stuff of why that is, but we all come from the same person. It's not evolution, y'all. It's and when the Tower of Babel, when that happened, I believe that we all look the same. We all look the same, and when God spread us out to the four corners of the earth, we adapted to our environment, right? So you have people in the Eskimos. They have short noses, shorter limbs, to be able to deal with that climate. People in Africa were exposed to sunlight, so their skin is adapted to that environment. People that are in tropic environments, they sweat a lot. Their skin's brown. These are all adaptations. It's not evolution, y'all. It's adaptations to our environment. I believe that God made us one way, and Jesus wasn't a white man. Surprise to some people, which I haven't heard that claimed in so long, man. But it's a narrative being pushed by these crazy leftists that white people are saying Jesus is white. There was a time, now don't get me wrong, where they depicted him as a white European guy. That's not true. If you're a Christian, if you're a true believer in Jesus, if you're a true believer in God, then you know the truth, right? So that's the first point, guys. The second point is we value accountability over victimhood. And what does that mean, right? The narrative says that we lack compassion, and that's not true. I'm a very compassionate person, right? The narrative tells people that they are permanent victims, right? And that the only way that they're going to be able to rise up is if the government comes in and creates some sort of program for them, right? That's the narrative being painted. And that right there, it robs people of their dignity, right? It's almost like this the redistricting fiasco that's going on around the country, right? You have black people out there saying that their right to vote is being taken away, and that's simply not true. And then you have these other far left liberals pushing that narrative around, right? The NAACP is even telling the SEC not to the black athletes not to play ball. So for your ideology and for your purpose and for your goals, you would tell a young black man to risk his education or his future for a political stunt. That makes no sense to me. Saying that having ID to vote is racist is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You have to have an ID to buy alcohol, right? Basically what that says is that black people don't have IDs. Black folks aren't smart enough to get identification. They don't know how to get identification. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? It strips the black men that, man, look, right now at where I work right now, the whole sales team management on the floor is black men, successful black men, black men that have passed, as a matter of fact. One of the guys did Fed time. Another guy did some extensive time in the penitentiary. Another guy served for our country. All three of these men, I look at them as friends, and are hardworking men. These guys rose up. They took personal responsibility for their self, and they rose up. Okay. So the narrative being painted by the left is that you can't do that, right? That you can't come out of prison and get a good job. I'm a 4-time loser, y'all. I got tattoos from my neck down, and I'm the service manager at this dealership I'm talking about, right? So I'm the service manager there, not because my skin's light. It's because I worked hard to get to that position, right? And I went above and beyond what was asked for me. That's the difference. And these other men did the same thing. They're not a victim to this narrative being painted. If they can do it, why can't the other guy down at the block selling weed out of his house playing PS5 all day on EBTs? Why can't he do it? The third one is defending the foundation is about safety and not supremacy. So one of the narratives being painted is that if you're a conservative, you're a white supremacist, right? They call us that because we want to protect the border. We want to protect law enforcement, and we want to preserve the nuclear family. Those are three main things right there, in my opinion. Okay, so a nation without borders is not a nation, y'all. Okay, and in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see some major effects from the open border of Biden. We're going to see some major effects by what happened with that. The influx of illegal immigrants that came. We're already seeing the effects of it, right? A community without law enforcement, or a city without law enforcement, society without law enforcement, goes straight into chaos and it collapses, y'all. It's so crazy to me you see, the whole "Don't Snitch" campaign was out, right? And they don't snitch. Nobody wants to, the people in the streets don't want to snitch until it's their brother that gets killed. Then it's everybody. Let's call the police. Right? That doesn't make any sense to me. So if you defund the police, who are you gonna call when they kill your brother, or they kill your mama, or they rob your grandmother and beat her and kill her? Who are you gonna call if you defund the police? Right? So being in support of law enforcement is racist. Is the narrative? That's the narrative that's being painted. A society that destroys the family unit, it morally collapses, and we're seeing the effect of that right now. The Democrats told the black mother that, sure, we're going to give you free housing, we're going to give you this housing voucher, we're going to give you this EBT card, but in order for you to have this housing voucher, your baby's father can't live with you. That's cultural, okay? So then there is no father figure in the home. That's why you have the whole YN thing going on right now, because these men were raised by emotional women. There was not a father figure in the home, and if there was a figure that the young man looked up to, he was probably selling drugs and was doing a lot of prison time. So they emulated that. I can speak on that because my dad painted this picture of him being this, big shot guy, and I wanted to match that. My stepfather was a bad mamma jamma, and had a lot of respect and had a reputation in the town before he turned his life around to God. And I wanted to emulate that. I wanted to go above that, right? I can relate to these things. The moral collapse of an absent picture of a nuclear family. The left told the women that they didn't have to clean house, take care of the kids. They could go get a job, right? And I'm in full support of that. I 100%. Hey, if you want to get a job, that's 100% okay. I'm not against that at all. But what I am against is the government telling people, what they need to do, telling the single black mother that the baby's father can't live with them, and all that does is breed chaos, guys. That's all it does, and we're seeing the effects of that right now. So, why am I conservative? Because I refuse to let a shifting culture tell me what is true. I drop my anchor deep and solid rock in my faith in God. I live by biblical principles. I value my family, personal accountability, and freedom. And they can call me whatever they want to call me. Okay, they can tell me they can call me whatever they want to call me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And if you're tired of the labels and you're ready to stand firm on what's right, hit the subscribe button, man. Give me a follow. Drop a comment below, and let me know what principles you're standing on today. Let's take this to the next level, y'all. God bless you. Pray for your family. Pray for blessings over you. And until next time.